Hello and welcome to another Betfred Sports video right here in the Quest Media Network studio. Peter, first of all, let's reflect on Thursday night's defeat for Manchester United. They were beaten 4-2 by Liverpool. Poor performance, and you look at the protest before the game. It put a bit of a dampener on it, didn't it?
Yeah, it surprised me somewhat that I never expected United to go down 4-2 against Liverpool. I think we saw the importance of Maguire in the defence, calming influence. Saw a picture on TV of him hobbling around, and that looked ominous for me. I can't see him playing again this season the way he looks. Really gingerly getting up those steps. You can't climb some steps at Old Trafford. You're not going to play in professional football, are you? So I thought he was struggling, and I think that the goalkeeper made me start wondering whether he is the answer. It was bouncing off him a bit, or a lot. I thought Fred was poor. McTominay, is he really good enough for a player, for a team of that stature? Maybe a squad player. Cavani, one of my favourite players I've talked about a lot, he struggled as well against inexperienced Liverpool defenders. So, and I think Rashford's out of form as well. So they are struggling. I wish Bruno stopped whinging at referees, because that's starting to get me nerves big time. He's not going to get any decisions by shouting and bawling at referees, especially when they made their mind up. And generally the referees were right, and they certainly were last night. So it was a poor performance all round. And this stuff about bleating about playing 2 matches in 4 days and all the rest of it. Well, that United fans caused or decided to protest like they did, and that meant that the game had to be played at some stage, and the game was played, and it's not too much to ask anyway for professional players to play so quickly, and United should have a strong enough squad to be able to cope, and they rested most of those players on the Tuesday against Leicester, so they should have been fresh for that game. They let themselves down, and now they're all playing for the places for the Europa League final.
Absolutely, but on the flip side to that, Liverpool were raring to go, really up for it, and they had reason to. They need to get in that top 4, don't they? And they boosted the chances with victory at Old Trafford.
Yeah, well, they certainly needed to get into the top 4, because their performance all season has been poor, a bit inconsistent like United were last night. So you're right. They do need to battle back to get a top 4 finish, and they're on the fringe of that now. Frankly, I don't think they'll make it. I think it'll be obviously City and then United, Chelsea and Leicester will take those places.
Brilliant stuff. Well, looking ahead to next week, on Tuesday night, United make the trip to London to take on relegated Fulham. What are the odds looking like for this one?
Well, it's a dead rubber basically, but it's more interest to United, because, as I say, they're going to have players looking for a Europa League final place. United are 1-3 with Betfred to win that game. Fulham 8-1. So I do see that United will bounce back. I was looking at some of the stats, and it's something like 60 odd years since United have lost 2 matches on the run in a 4-day period. So they have got something to play for. You'd expect them to at least have got a draw against Liverpool, and now Solskjaer and the fans will be thinking, well, really, we need some more experienced players to strengthen the squad, because some of the squad players they put out against Leicester particularly were poor, and there again last night the so-called first teamers, they struggled. The midfield was all over the place again. I go back to whether you really think Pogba and Fernandes can play in the same team, because they're too similar for me.
Absolutely. Well, it's one to think about, and you said that game was a dead rubber next Tuesday, and there's also another dead rubber this evening at St James's Park. It's Newcastle United taking on Manchester City. Do you think Newcastle could potentially win this one, given City might have a hangover from the title celebrations?
Well, no, really. I think that City will win, and I think players such as Aguero, Sterling, and Jesus, who found themselves on the fringe of the Guardiola's first 11 lineup, I think they'll all start, and I think they'll have it all to do. Betfred have Aguero 10-3 after his horrendous penalty miss, putting things right, getting himself back in favour big time with the City supporters. He's 10-3 to score the first goal. Sterling likewise, he's lost his place to Foden effectively, and he'll be looking to get back in good form ahead of the Euros. He's 9-2 to score first, as is Jesus. He's 9-2. City are 1-4, so odds on to win the game at Newcastle. Newcastle 11-2. City looking to build momentum, as I say, for the Champions League final and the selection in that game.
Absolutely. Well, there's another massive game taking place this weekend. It's the FA Cup final. It's Chelsea taking on Leicester City, and it's a special occasion for Jamie Vardy. He's played in every stage of the competition, hasn't he, throughout his career?
Yeah, what a fantastic record. To think that he turned pro at 25. He'd gone round the houses, he'd played against Staley Bridge, and some of the Staley Bridge at that time were the money team in non-league football. And he's played Stockbridge and Sheffield, and then he went to Fleetwood. Fleetwood hung on for him as long as they could.
Yeah.
Then he was a record signing when he went from Fleetwood, who were then non-league, into to Leicester. And the ground at Fleetwood, the training ground, was built by the money that they got off Jamie Vardy. And then it's just gone better and better. I was reading lots of articles this week about how he's made his mark in football at all levels, and it's absolutely, it's based on speed effectively and use of both feet and awareness in front of goal, and he's kept that going at all different levels. How he got to 25 without being picked up, he's astonishing, really. So Betfred have him 11-2 to score the first goal, 9-4 to score any time, and 150-1 if you think it's a real fairy tale and he scores a hat-trick. Chelsea, naturally enough, are the favourites in that game. Their form has really come on now, although there was the blip against Arsenal, of course.
Yeah.
They're 5-6 to win the match, lift the cup. Mason Mount, one of my favourite players, he's 7-1 to score the first goal. But it's all about Jamie Vardy, as you say. Wouldn't it be fantastic if he actually not only played in the final, so he played in every single round of the FA Cup. No other player in history has ever done that, but to win it as well with Leicester. Leicester, got to say, to me, they're like everyone's second favourite team now. The way they play, the way they bring on young players as well. Ian Acho, ex of City, Betfred have him 4-1 to score the first goal. He's
in great form as well.
Fantastic form.
Absolutely. Well, if you do fancy a punt on Jamie Vardy to score a hat-trick in that FA Cup final, he's priced at 150-1. But very quickly, Peter, let's just take a look at Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel. You know, it could be a fairy tale for him in his first season in charge. They're in this FA Cup final. They're also in the Champions League final. You know, what a story that would be for the club.
Yeah, he's only seems to have been in the job 5 minutes, and what a fantastic job he's done. Beaten City, of course. He's reorganised the defence. He makes Frank Lampard look something of a rookie manager that he was. I noticed that Frank Lampard's now been linked with the vacancy at Crystal Palace. But he has done a tremendous job, and his tactical nous is a match for Guardiola. So I think it's ominous now for City going into that Champions League final. They've got to find a way of getting past a half-decent team that's full of flair, just like City. So it should be a great final. And that's now been switched to Porto, hasn't it? Yeah,
it has. There we go. So that has been switched to Porto, and I think it's 6,000 fans each making the journey over there, or allowed to make the journey. Yeah,
it's going to be a strange experience, because the Portuguese authorities are saying that the fans are to go direct from Manchester or London for the Chelsea fans. They've got to go straight from the aircraft onto a coach to the ground, watch the match, get back on a coach, get back on the plane and come back. So there'll be no Mattis Rosé for them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, at least they'll be going there, at least they'll enjoy it. And very quickly, Peter, we've got the Betfred Super League taking place tonight and this weekend. It's Leeds taking on Wakefield. What can you tell us about this fixture?
Well, Leeds, for one of the bigger teams in the Betfred Super League, should really be doing a lot better. They've only won once so far this season. Wakefield not won at all. So we do expect there to be a Leeds victory there. But what's significant about this weekend, of course, is that the fans are back on Monday, limited crowds at all the grounds. So Salford are at St Helens on Monday night. There's loads of great fixtures, but they've all been moved to Monday so they can take advantage of the government relaxation of the COVID rules. Betfred now have Saints as the outright favourites to win the grand final. That's because Saints have been unbeaten in all competitions, the only team to do so this season, so it shows what a tough task it's going to be for Salford. So anyway, Saints are 15-8 to win the grand final. Betfred have Wigan second favourites 9-4. Warrington, should never ever discount them with the flair players they've got. They're 6-1 to win the grand final. Castleford 9-1. And going down the list, Leeds are 20-1. Salford are right out with the outsiders at 100-1 to win the grand final.
Excellent stuff. So just to recap, it is Leeds taking on Wakefield and the Betfred Super League tonight. That is Friday, and then the rest of the fixtures are on Monday because spectators are finally allowed to return. Peter, it's been great having you on once again, and if you do fancy having a punt on any of the fixtures over the coming weekend, Betfred stores are now open with safety provisions in place, but you can also bet online and via their app.